Have you ever tried bullet journaling, the Pomodoro Technique, or Eat That Frog? I've had an interest in time management techniques for the last few years because of my concussions that I've had. So before whacking my head, I really only kept a schedule just to keep track of deadlines and when I had to go work, but I never really had to write to-do lists most of the time because I was able to just remember what I had to do and organize everything in my head. Not so much post-concussion. So two of my abilities that are still even affected today are my memory and my ability to manage my time. So these three ideas that I'm going to talk about in this video are ones that I've just come across as I was figuring out how to live life again, and maybe one of them will work for you. Eat That Frog is a book by Tracy, and the title is from a Mark Twain quote. Eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you for the rest of the day. There's a lot of great tips in this book for achieving goals and procrastinating less, but the main idea that's encapsulated in the title is that you should eat a live frog for breakfast. So the frog is that task that you are most likely to procrastinate on. And the idea is if you eat that frog as the first order of business, one of the first things you do in the morning, the idea is that you will just have more energy and momentum during your day instead of having the weight of that task that you don't want to do on your shoulders. For myself, I found that the Eat the Frog method works the best for me. If the task is something that's annoying, I have to do it, but it's not terribly complex. So something like paying bills online, or responding to an email that's boring, or maybe calling the bank or the government. Bullet journaling is a notebook system to help you to organize your tasks, ideas, goals, and to-do lists. If you're looking into it, bullet journaling is something that you can really dive down a rabbit hole with. First of all, because people have taken the basic premise and tweaked the system and really made it into something that works for them. So there's a lot of variety to bullet journaling techniques. Another way that you could just jump down a rabbit hole is some people really take the idea of a bullet journal and turn it into basically an art project where every page is just covered in beautiful lettering and design. You can also get actual bullet journals, which are notebooks with a grid of dots just to help you to lay everything out. All of that is unnecessary though. Basically, what you need is any notebook and a pen. In bullet journaling, your tasks and goals are separated out in monthly logs and daily logs. And there's space within the system for you to reassess if a task is still a priority, if it remains undone at the end of the month. On your daily logs, you can star your top priorities for the day. So you can incorporate the idea of picking your top 3 daily priorities that I talk about in my time management video called Break It Down. There's also pages called collections in bullet journaling, and this is where you're going to put things like shopping lists, break down projects, or do brainstorming. Bullet journaling can evolve over time. You can finesse it as you do it until you figure out a system that works really well for you. Myself, I've toned down bullet journaling. I still kind of do it, but it's messier, less complex, and just more loosey-goosey than the original version. I also find it works the best if I keep a separate calendar or a schedule book instead of having everything in my bullet journal. The Pomodoro technique is ideal if you're studying, working from home, or working on any complex task that will take a long time. It was developed by Francis Cocciarillo. I am probably butchering his name, but he was a grad student in Italy in the 1990s, and it was named after his kitchen timer that looked like a tomato, and a tomato in Italian is Pomodoro. To do the Pomodoro technique, you'll need a timer, so it could be an analog kitchen timer. It could be an app on your phone, or it could also be a video on YouTube, because there's a lot of them that actually time everything out for you. A Pomodoro is a unit of time, which is 25 minutes. The idea is that you promise yourself to fully focus without distractions for one Pomodoro. So that means your phone's on silent and tucked away. The other people you're with know that they can't disturb you. And also you can't check the timer to see how much time is left. When the timer goes off and you're done your 25 minutes, then you indicate to yourself in some way that you've completed one Pomodoro. So do you do a tick, check, cross it off a list, put a star, and then you do a timed 5-minute break where you actually go away, leave the space you're working in, go and do things, have a snack, grab some water, make a tea, go to the washroom, stretch, whatever you want to do, and then you can choose to come back for another Pomodoro if you would like. If you're doing this over hours, after 4 Pomodoros, which is 2 hours, then you take a longer break. And that's it. So you can choose to do 1 Pomodoro, or you could do it all day long. And taking a moment before you take your break to physically commemorate that you've successfully completed a Pomodoro is an important part of this technique, I think. So by crossing it off, you're celebrating what you've accomplished, which will release a little bit of dopamine in your brain. And the dopamine is just a tiny bit of a feel-good reinforcement for your good behavior, which will probably mean that you'll be more likely to behave the same way in the future.